day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hitting cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local and national Native news and events, and as you know, Chujunk, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
You are right, Dega. This portion of the show is supported by Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon, supporting honest Native news, stories, and events from Natives themselves. Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon.
Hey, we're so lucky and blessed to have great guests on every day, and today is no exception. We have Arvina Martin on in the next segment from Emerge, Wisconsin, for our relatives out in Wisconsin. Let's get people out there, and women especially, to run for office and turn that state back into the blue state that it rightfully is without that gerrymandering. But we'll get into more with Arvina. I just got on a roll there. I beg your pardon. We'll let her speak for herself. And then we got Bob Blake from Red Lake. I just always like to say that. But the first half of the show, or three-quarters of the show, will be a Ho-Chunk show. So ho-wa.
Yes. Ho-Chunk show.
Yeah. Hey, so we got some updates to some things happening around Turtle Island here, and specifically the Twin Cities. Do you want to take a little lead on that? But before you do that, Haley, I want to give a quick shout out to Joe Mauer. And I did mention this yesterday real quickly, but Joe Mauer, I went to high school with his mom, and he is now elected in the Hall of Fame, and within a few miles, there are 4 Hall of Famers in St. Paul. We got Dave Winfield, who went to the same high school I did. He's like 10 years older, so don't get any bright ideas. Jack Morris, who went to Highland. Paul Molitor, who went to Cretin. And Joe Mauer, who went to Cretin-Derham. So welcome. St. Paul, there's something in the water here. And,
Yeah.
You know, you'd be a professional baseball player too, Haley, if you were here. Lived here in St. Paul, you know, right around me. Oh,
I know. Too bad I moved out of St. Paul when I was like 3, but that was not my choice. Yeah, that is amazing. Congrats to Joe Mauer. And just, you listed a lot of people that you know that were in the baseball realm, but that is pretty wild. I grew up playing softball myself and always had to have the number 7 on my back.
Nice.
Yeah, just because of Joe Mauer. I really looked up to him. I remember, get the applause out for him. But I remember growing up and watching him and Justin Morneau on the same team those few years. And I played catcher. I played catcher, and I was, one of the first people to bat, just like Joe Mauer. So I really looked up to him, and I'm happy that he's in our Hall of Fame now.
Well, and that's name drop right here. When we did the live show at Target Field, we talked about a twin that's on the team now and had a really good freshman season on the Twins, someone you went to high school with.
Yeah. No, I went to high school with the good old Matt Wallner, who is now playing for the Twins. So, yeah, it's a small world. We know a lot of athletes, it looks like, but that's really cool. And it's always cool when they're Minnesota players as well.
Well, and then we just have to throw it out there, too. Paul Molitor spent most of his career with the Brewers and his Hall of Fame career, and I know he did end up here with the Twins at the end of his career, and then also managed the Twins too. And Jack Morris was on the Twins for 1 year, that great 91 season where he had that unbelievable 1-0 game in 91 where it went 10 innings and he threw a shutout, and the Twins won by one run. And Winfield just was drafted by 3 different teams: basketball, professional football, and baseball the same year. And so he was an unbelievable athlete. And it's funny, his brother Stevie was a great athlete, and so was, a matter of fact, Jack Morris's brother is one of the top 100 athletes in St. Paul athletics of all time. And Jack was a little late bloomer. He started to really throw that ball hard when he was pitching in college.
Oh, wow. Wasn't Joe a good he played football too, right?
Yeah,
were
he
you
was.
telling me about that?
Joe Mauer, yeah, he was quarterback for Cretin, and he was, I can't remember what college, but it was one of the best colleges, football colleges. He was going to be their first-year starter, and they're saying, too, that he is probably the greatest high school athlete Minnesota's ever seen because of his prowess, not only as a football player, but he played basketball, too, and baseball, and I think he took his team to state, too, his senior year as a basketball player, and he was averaging 20 points a game.
That is, wow, just amazing. I'm always so amazed by athletes who not are only good at one sport, but multiple. I think that just says a lot about a person and their, their drive and success.
Well, when I hate to say this stuff, but when I was a kid, we all played, sports year round, different sports. And you never really got into, playing baseball or hockey year round, things like that. You just, whatever the season was is what you played.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's so true.
So now it's a lot different where you could be playing basketball year round and not have time to play other sports. And
yeah. Well, I hear that that's kind of what a lot of the kids are doing is picking their one specialty sport now and running with that, which is really cool. We got to shout out Lily Gladstone's Oscar nomination.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I just love Lily and think I saw this coming. I know a few other people did too, but it was what was shocking was that Margot Robbie wasn't up there for a nomination.
Well, and also the director and writer of Barbie 2, which is mind-blowing. This movie made the most money of any movie. It was pretty about girl power, and it's almost like the same kind of backlash that our Swiftie friends are getting. It's women in their place, and you can still see that we're still run by men and making the decisions because she wrote and directed that. And the funny thing about the movie Barbie is about exactly what's happening to her. It's just like, what
I know. And people still don't get the message in it.
I know.
I think Jake Gyllenhaal was nominated for that Oscar too, but no one else was for that film.
For Barbie, you mean?
Yeah, for Barbie.
No, Ken was nominated.
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal plays Ken.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I got to stay up on these names. I guess I'm not hip anymore. Hey, we only got a few more minutes. Why don't we give a quick updates here on some things happening, and then we'll get to break, and then Arvina Martin will be on.
Absolutely. So this is something going on in the Afton area tomorrow, Thursday, January 25th. There is going to be a full moon ceremony, and it will be at the Bellwin Conservancy Savannah Center in Afton, Minnesota. It will be a potluck, so please bring a dish to share with your own plate, utensils, a serving spoon. For our feasting for Grandmother Moon, if you have any questions, you can contact Youth Services Manager Pam Goki at aifcminnesota.org. And then also going on tomorrow on Thursday the 25th, Little Earth will be doing a community vaccine clinic at the Little Earth Gym, which is 2501 Cedar Avenue, Minneapolis. Yeah. January 25th from 3 to 7 p.m. Pre-registration is encouraged. You can head over to our Facebook page or Little Earth as well.
I like what they say, bring your insurance card. If none, don't worry. We've got you covered. That's awesome.
Yeah, and anyone 6 months or older is eligible for the COVID-19 vaccines, boosters, and the flu vaccine as well.
Perfect. What else? Anything else going on? I know.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
We just have like a minute left here before we take a break. NAC is also having a full moon ceremony tomorrow, Thursday, the 25th at 5 p.m. at 18th Avenue South in the Little Earth in the ceremony room, and that is happening in Minneapolis. So if you're not East Side available to get to Afton's full moon ceremony, I would definitely check that one out as well.
Awesome. Hey, up next, Arvina Martin from Emerge, Wisconsin, and our normal regular, I should say regular Wednesday guest, and then Bob Blake later on. Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by. Stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence, and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Life can be hectic. Sometimes the pressure can feel like too much, and the emotions can be overwhelming. Hennepin County's COPE Mobile Crisis Response is here to listen and help you find a way through whatever is going on in your life. Call 612-596-1223 for no-cost crisis support anytime, anywhere in Hennepin County. That number is 612-596-1223.
J&S Bean Factory is a Native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by J.S. Bean Factory off Randolph Avenue in St. Paul. Only the good stuff keeps us awake.
I am awake. Hey, we have Arvina Martin here of Emerge, Wisconsin, and what's happened, Arvina? What happened to the bangs? I don't know. I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks now. What's going on here?
The bangs are growing out a little bit, but we've got a haircut scheduled soon, and we'll get their last trim before we go into growing them out for summer. So,
right on. Well, hey,
as warranted. I'll keep you updated.
Right on. Well, I follow you on Twitter, so that's sufficient. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, a lot going on here. Can we talk a little national politics right off the top here, and then
absolutely.
And we got you for a couple segments. So what is happening here with Trump and Nikki? And Nikki won't, call herself by her BIPOC name, so that's very disappointing. And she's going to find out that Trump doesn't like women and BIPOC people.
I'm sure she knows that she's a smart woman, and I'm honestly surprised that it took this long before Trump started using her actual given name, which I believe is Nimrata, which is a beautiful name, and started using it. I believe Nikki is her anglicized name and what she's been called. And I don't know if that's like what growing up or at school or what the parameters are on her name usage. But she's going to find out. It sounds like her speech last night in New Hampshire, set him off a bit. And, he kind of went off the rails during his speech, and I can't honestly even comment on it because it's so, it's so wild, and we've kind of forgotten, we haven't been dealing with everyday Trumpisms for like 3 years. So it's kind of that shocking reminder of the fact that he will say whatever he can get away with, and a lot of times it's nonsensical, a lot of times it's aggressive and mean-spirited. There's just so many negative adjectives I can ascribe to his interactions and his public appearances and the things that he says while he's on the campaign trail.
Wow. And am I off base thinking, okay, there's a big percentage that are against Trump because he's crazy in the Republican Party and they're voting for Nikki. And so that looks good for Biden when Trump does end up getting the nomination while he's in prison. I mean, am I off center there, Arvina?
I mean, that is kind of what a lot of the campaign data nerds, your Steve Kornackis and such, are looking at right now. They did a lot of exit polling in New Hampshire, and so they are trying to figure out kind of what these Nikki Haley voters, like, where they line up. Are they, Republicans that have always been Republicans? Are they moderates who are just trying to, stave off a Trump victory? There are times when people will cross party lines when their candidate doesn't, or when their primary doesn't have anything contested. They might switch over and vote for someone else, whatever their voting strategy is. So, I think that we're going to learn a lot more about these Nikki Haley voters, and we'll be better able to figure out if these folks are going to be people that will eventually put, their nation above their party affiliation, and vote for the sane choice, the only sane choice in this race.
Arvina, am I off? Because what I always say, especially to our Gen Zs like Haley, because Haley doesn't have a line phone where, she's going to be picking up and doing these answering polls. She's not, the demographic is not there, and that looks good for the Democrats. But I feel like we outnumber them, one, and two, what if you're worried about things, get people, our new voters and people that have never voted for, registered. Get them engaged, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, for anybody out there that is feeling despondent or feeling nervous or scared, first of all, I'm with you. It's scary to think that we might be on the precipice of a second Trump presidency, but really the best thing to do is get involved with the Democratic Party and the campaigns, whether that means knocking doors, whether that means registering voters, participating in events and inviting people to events with surrogates, whether they're administration folks or famous fun people talking about the accomplishments of the Biden administration, but getting involved with your local Democratic Party and putting in work. I mean, all of that time making phone calls and knocking doors, the data shows that those are really incredible ways to get people out to vote and make sure that they do actually go out and cast their ballot rather than just say, yeah, I'll go. So there are so many efforts across the country that are happening. I know that in the Democratic Party of Wisconsin, we've got local party units that are working together to, get things ready and are working through the spring election to kind of, put together their strategy and run it through an election cycle first, and then be able to then put it in and it's tested, put it into practice for the fall. And I know, the Minnesota Democratic, the DFL party is also incredible and is doing amazing things on the ground. Just look up your state party and see how you can get involved, because this is the kind of thing that really does take all hands on deck. And, we do need everybody. And it can be scary, especially when people hear that volunteering needs, and they're like, and they hear phone calls and knocking on doors. Those can be really scary to do. Mm-hmm. And, if you sign up to go do that, especially if it's your first time, the folks that are running that particular canvas will usually help you out and, maybe assign you a partner who knows what they're doing, who's a little bit experienced, or just so you're not going out there alone. And there's other things that need to be done. There's tons of data entry. Volunteers need food and snacks, and all kinds of things. It just, take a look and see what needs to be done and volunteer to do it. And better yet, grab a friend or two to come with you. Especially I've been doing this professionally for over a decade now, and everybody's always so excited to see the new folks come in, mm-hmm. and they want to make your experience as positive as possible. So, just go into that knowing that nobody's expecting perfection. We're happy to teach you the things that in order to make a good door knock or have a good ask, and just make it as positive an experience as possible.
Well, I heard nationally the last cycle that there's some houses you don't want to go to, and I think like you said, you'll be buddied up with people that do know these things. And I heard something that was kind of made sense to me, and especially when I look around my blue neighborhood, is when you see American flags out there year-round, that's possibly not a house to go to when you see, as opposed to somebody that puts out their flag during the 4th of July and, Veterans Day and things like that. So there's all these little insider things that I never would have thought of because I haven't done this, but, people that will help you and help you if you're new will know certain things like this, Arvina.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, when you're knocking doors or you're making phone calls, you're not just going in blind. The parties and the groups that you're working with create lists based on lots of data. And then, you can kind of figure out who is a lean Democrat, who is a strong Democrat, who votes all the time, and who votes, maybe 50-50. And so you are, you that you're using the time wisely, and you're not going out to knock on doors to opponents or people that, you're reminding, Trump voters to go and vote. They're sending you to friendly territory and to friendly doors. So.
Hey,
well, that's good to know.
That's really good to know. Hey, we're with the executive director of Emerge Wisconsin, Arvina Martin, and a groovy ho-chunk like us two here. Hey, we'll be right back after this short break. More with Arvina. Hey, if you're like a lot of people, you're probably relieved that the holiday celebrations are over. But there's one thing that might stay with us from the holidays besides all those gifts, and that's COVID-19. Numbers from COVID are going up as we spend more time inside. And Native Americans are seeing even bigger case spikes. With all the indoor celebrations over the holidays, you may have unknowingly been exposed to someone with COVID-19. That's why it's important to stay vigilant. If you notice any symptoms like a fever, a tickle in the throat, or heavy fatigue, take an at-home test. They're still free and can be ordered at sayyeshometest.org. If you do test positive, you're eligible for free treatment, and no health insurance is required. Visit health.state.mn.us to connect with providers and receive your treatment. Let's make 2024 the healthiest year ever, securing a brighter future for our Native community.
As we pack away the ornaments and bid farewell to the holiday season, it's time to unwrap the gift that keeps on giving, getting protected by a COVID-19 vaccination. This is your chance to make a difference, especially as our Native communities face higher COVID numbers. Those higher numbers underscore the need for collective action. So answer the call and get vaccinated. The latest vaccines are not just authorized, but they're proven effective against the current variants. This is extra protection even if you've already had previous vaccines, since previous vaccines will eventually wear off. Plus, the new shots are FDA approved for ages 6 months and up. A COVID vaccine is not just a shot. It's a pledge to safeguard the wisdom and stories handed down by our elders. So join the movement, get vaccinated, and make 2024 the healthiest year ever, securing a brighter future for our Native community. For more information, including details about clinics offering free vaccines, visit vaccines.gov.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Life can be hard. Sometimes it feels like there's no answers, like there's no way out. Hennepin County's COPE Mobile Crisis Response is here to listen and help you find a way through whatever is going on in your life. Call 612-596-1223 for no-cost crisis support anytime, anywhere in Hennepin County. That number is 612-596-1223.
Think your company's safe? Your staff is working from home, right? As I speak, cyber criminals are mounting attacks across the country. Remember, when we're weakest, cyber criminals attack. Hi, Mark Sommerfeld from Rymark. The Rymark team is guiding our clients through these difficult times. In fact, demand has been so high, we created an easy-to-follow guide. It's yours free. Download our 5 steps to securely work from home now at rymarkit.com or call 651-328-8900 for a no-cost how-to discussion.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies tonight with a low around 31. Thursday, some light rain with a high near 37. And Friday, cloudy with a high around 38. Tired of ordinary meals? Elevate your culinary experience with Vinaigrette's premium oils and vinegars. From extra virgin olive oils to balsamic vinegars, they've been perfecting the art since 2009. A family-owned gem at 50th and Xerxes in Minneapolis. Visit vinaigrettemn.com for a taste of excellence.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Development Institute, or NACD, in Minneapolis.
Hey, we are here with the Executive Director of Emerge Wisconsin, Arvina Martin, and like I said earlier, a groovy ho-chunk, and we're still here, and I just want to say that real quick. Hey, Haley, you've got a quick question for you.
Oh, yes, I do. Okay, so this is something that I've ran into at the polls. And, well, I guess the first time I registered to vote was in college, I guess, so not too long ago. But what are there ways that people can, like, pre-register and vote early or vote without going in person, or how does that work?
Yeah, you need to check with your local municipality and your state laws. I know in Wisconsin we do have early registration, so people can go and register, at their clerk's office, etc. But we also have, there's my cat, we juke Ron Swanson in the background for those of you who might be watching online. Yeah, so check and look into rules for first registering to vote or changing your registration, whether you need to do that, change an address or some other status, and also look up the kind of information that you need to bring in order to do that, and check with your local municipality and see what they allow or what kind of services, how they offer them. I know in Wisconsin, we also have same day registration. So, if you're coming to the polls, you can bring in, a new utility bill and change your address, and be able to vote that day. I'm not sure what the rules are in Minnesota. So I would check on that. And also in Wisconsin, you can vote early, whether that's by mail. You can request to have a ballot mailed to you. You can fill it out and then mail that back. We also do early voting in public libraries and in our municipal clerk's offices. So you can actually go in and vote, within a window a couple weeks before, or starting a couple weeks before, and then coming up to the Friday before Election Day, you can actually go in and vote at your local library or other location that your municipality decides.
Yeah,
So.
I always I don't always vote early because sometimes it's exciting to see how many people are voting that day, but if I'm out of town or whatever, it's a great possibility. I think you're right. In Minnesota here, it opens up a couple of weeks beforehand, and then also mail-in is even earlier, I do believe.
Yeah, and I'm someone who usually ends up voting early as well, just because chances are I'm going to have a lot of work to do on Election Day. So I like to go, and I like to go vote early at my neighborhood library branch, and it's it's a lot of times just as busy as maybe a little bit of a slower time on Election Day at your polling place. There are people there, like a trickle or a steady stream of people that are coming in and getting their ballots cast before Election Day. And if you are someone who then wants to help on Election Day and help turn out voters and help get people to the polls, voting early is a really great way to make sure you take care of your own civic duty before you help everybody else.
Wow. And I think when we get closer, we'll be talking more about that, Arvina, about how people can do that. And that'll be exciting because of our Wisconsin listeners, and also get people in Minnesota engaged too. Hey, before we get an update about what's happening with the Merge Wisconsin, I just have to get your take, and I don't know, you saw the movie Barbie, right?
I did.
And Greta Gerwig did not get an Academy Award nomination for director or writer, and I see a cartoon, a editorial cartoon with her saying maybe they didn't understand the movie. So what are your thoughts?
I mean, that seems pretty dead on. It seems, I could speak at length on this topic, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that a movie like the Barbie movie is not your typical Oscar bait movie. It is not a very, crazy drama where an actor has to lose a bunch of weight or go be attacked by a fake bear or, things like that. And I also think that because it is a movie that is marketed and aimed towards women and younger women in particular, that it's not seen as serious because there's so many things that are centered, on women, or things that happen in the media that are focused on women, and they aren't taken seriously. And that goes, from the movie industry into our everyday lives, when I mean, even down to like healthcare and safety. You know, they didn't. Did you know that they didn't make women's crash test dummies until like I think it was like the last decade, or certainly last 20 years.
Wow.
No one thought to see what the difference of the distribution of weight in different parts of the body how that might affect someone in a crash. And so I think that this is just a symptom of a huge societal problem where where the society doesn't take seriously the things that are important to women, whether it is our entertainment or whether it is our safety in driving in cars.
Hopefully nowadays we're taking 2 steps back, and we took 3 back with Trump. We're taking 2 steps back to take 3 forward, because I mean, just common sense. I mean, being a former high school teacher, and when you bring up these issues like pay equity, equal pay, things like that, they're like going, you boomers have really messed up this world here, and hopefully that can be repaired by the next generations.
I mean, hopefully it can be repaired by the next administration, I mean, let's not wait till the next generation. I mean, it's insane to me that there is not a law, regarding equal pay in the United States that has been codified into law in our year 2024. It's absurd. It's not like we're half the population or anything.
Exactly. And the smarter part of the population, too, I may add here. We wouldn't have Native Roots Radio if it hasn't been all the great women producers like Haley that have been running the show, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, it reminds me, there's a very viral TikTok sound going around right now, and a younger woman, probably my age, Gen Z, and she says, well, how hard can it be? Men do it. And it's gone pretty viral, and the comments about just from the men and even just younger men are just so rude, and so they're just so upset about it. And it's like, you're just learning this, But it just goes along with kind of the whole situation and the division between the genders. I just don't get it.
Yeah. I like you said, Arvina, this next election, that's get the Senate and the House and the presidency and have a trifecta and do what we're doing here in Minnesota, is passing good, smart bills for everybody.
Absolutely. Let's codify, access to abortions. Let's make sure that women have access to, healthcare, reproductive healthcare. There's so many people that don't even understand that reproductive healthcare does not just mean babies and pregnancy. There are a lot of diseases that we don't know a ton about because they haven't been researched the same as diseases or conditions that affect men as well, or just men. And like, not to make you uncomfortable, but it's insane that you can go to the doctor and get an IUD placed without anesthesia.
Whoa.
I mean, that hurts. It hurts.
I was going to say, too, you can get Viagra, but yet there is no male contraceptive out there. How is that even possible?
Right.
Exactly. And hopefully, Democrats in both houses of the legislature, as well as in the White House, will, lead to more of these things that are common sense and, like I said, affect a huge portion of the population. Get these things into law that protect access to things that make us healthy, and things that keep us safe. It's absolutely absurd to me. It blows my mind. I'm starting to get a little riled up.
Right. That's good. That's good radio and good TV. But hey, I just we got to pray for Wisconsin and get out the vote, and then we got like a minute left here. Do you got any updates with the merge? And we can maybe send out the website and get people in Wisconsin.
Yeah, because of the Supreme Court decision that declared our legislative maps unconstitutional, we have reopened our applications, and our applications are open until February 9th. If you are a woman or a non-binary person that it feels comfortable in female-centered spaces, you should definitely apply. You can go to wi.emergeamerica.org for our website, and we actually have a pop-up right there that will take you to the application. Or you can email me at arvina@emergewi.org and ask me questions. I'm happy to answer them. I say this every time that representation matters, and we need people and we need our community to be represented at every level of government, from school boards to county boards, state legislatures to the U.S. Senate and the presidency. You think of that quote about, well, how many women on the Supreme, when will there be enough women on the Supreme Court? And the answer is when there's 9. And heck, we need to get one Native on the Supreme Court, let alone 9.
Absolutely. Arvina, Big Peeny Gigi, thank you so much for stopping in, and we'll see you next week, hopefully. I know you're busy and it's hit or miss, but we love having you on. This is Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
As we age, it's important to invest in our health and to help protect it. Like the flu, COVID-19 is always changing. That's why it's important to stay up to date on your vaccines. By getting the flu and COVID-19 vaccines, you can renew your body's defenses and lower the risk of getting sick. Get your health boost and protect yourself against the flu and COVID-19. Find vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. That's vaccines.gov.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Signing up for $1 bus and train rides with the Transit Assistance Program, or TAP, is quick and easy. Do it straight from your computer or phone by uploading one of the pre-approved documents listed at metrotransit.org/TAP, along with a copy of your ID. We'll mail you a go-to card with a full year of discounted rides. For questions or translation help, call 612-373-3333. 612-373-3333.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Hey, welcome. We have Robert Blake, who's owner of Solar Bear and director of Native Sun, and he has the wolf hat on, too, that he's going to give me when he gets those courtside seats for us to watch the wolves. Robert, welcome as always.
Hey, how's it going, Robert? There's a lot going on. I love doing that Howling for Wolves piece. That's always been my favorite. You know, when we first started, going on like 4 years or something now. Wendy was doing that, and I remember, and that was always the funnest part of doing the radio show back at the studios in Eden Prairie. Remember that?
Absolutely. And then we'd go out to eat. And then we went to Jay Selby's, who used to be a sponsor of ours, and had some vegan food. And then also, Robert, I just got to tell you this: if you've been on longer than 4 years, because we just celebrated 7 years in the beginning of January.
Yes, I have been on longer. Oh my God, that is crazy, Robert. That time has flown like that. That is unbelievable. And I just got to say, Robert, like, congratulations. I mean, you are absolutely correct. You know, we even went to Iowa.
Yeah.
And then all the presidential candidates.
Yeah. And the funny thing was, Biden was not running at that time. And that was the first Native American caucus, presidential caucus.
Yeah. I mean, you know, how incredible was that like he wasn't even on the ballot and he won. And I mean, I think that says a lot to, like, I guess you could say, I mean, Dean Phillips, all right, you made your point, you got attention. But like, let's get back to reality here and let's get all on the same page. And let's prepare, Biden for, this coming election is my feeling.
Yeah.
And let's all rally and come together, and because there are more of us than there are Republicans. Yeah,
absolutely. We got to keep them engaged.
And I think it's kind of disingenuous, like I said before, Robert, that they play on this thing like, there's all these people that showed out for Trump, and like there's like hardly, I mean, there wasn't a lot of people, honestly, So I don't think that we should put too much into. As mentioned, that, what was it that Richard Todd guy or whatever, he was explaining that the show out for Nikki Haley actually is going to benefit Biden,
right,
in the general election. Actually, he was explaining that situation. He says this does not look good for Trump voters, because here's the reason why, and he explained it. And I can't remember what he said, but I thought it was a pretty good point.
Well, I don't think they can flip 8 million votes, and plus we have new voters coming and that need to be engaged and registered. And I think we talked about in the last segment with our Emerge Wisconsin friend Arvina that get out there and get the vote out there and get people engaged, and not listen to the press. The corporate media is talking about all these things just to get people to listen, and it's ridiculous. We talked about Haley here being a Gen Zer, and she's never been polled.
Yeah, and Robert, that reminds me too, if I could just real quick do a shameless plug here. I'll be speaking over at the Renew Energy event in Madison, Wisconsin on February 1st. And this is the Wisconsin's biggest renewable energy event. And there's a lot of good work going on in Wisconsin. So I'm excited to be one of their key speakers next week, and really excited in the direction that Wisconsin is heading as far as renewable energy is concerned. So if you get a chance, everyone, you're listening, check it out. Wisconsin seems like, to me, having some really good stuff happening, some really good people pushing some really good initiatives over there. The Renew event will be held in Madison, Wisconsin on February 1st.
Do you know exactly where? Because I might trek down there in my Camry.
Yeah. It's going to be held. It's in Madison.
Mona Terrace. Something.
Yeah. It's gonna be held in Wisconsin. In Madison, and I'm just trying to look up. It's the Renew Wisconsin Summit, and I just don't have it in front of me right now.
We'll talk about it next week. Then that's cool, because I definitely want to check that out. I might drive out there and sit at your table with you and put a little polio tie on or something.
Yeah. It's the 2024 Renew Wisconsin Summit, it's presented by Arch, and it's February 1st. And that's all I have in front of me right now.
We'll Google it and get it out there. Haley, have any questions for Bob? I mean, it's a good time. It's a scary time to live as a Gen Zer, but also a good time too, don't you think, Haley?
I hope so. I was just driving out yesterday home from Dresser, Wisconsin, and I was seeing some huge solar panels on some rural schools out there, and I was really excited to see that. And it made me think of you, our solar bearer with the Solar News, Bob Blake. And, I hope that we can see more solar panels in a lot more buildings, and we need to be planting trees in big cities and growing our medicine everywhere where we can. And I don't know. I just hope we go green all the way.
And real quickly, it's at the Monona Terrace and Convention Center. That's where it's going to be at.
Right on the lake there. All right, perfect.
Yep, that's where it's going to be at. And then, Haley, the Solar for School program has been super successful here in Minnesota, and it really does give the opportunity for districts to apply for. There's a certain amount of dollars that is allocated by the legislation to install solar projects on top of schools. All schools in the state of Minnesota are qualified. I think that they got something similar going on in Wisconsin, and I'm really excited next week to be at this convention because just to really hear about all the other things that are happening in Wisconsin. A really good story here, Robert, that I wanted to share with you real quick is Michigan approves $13.5 million in grants and incentives for companies that are involved in battery assembly for electric vehicle charging production. Now, the reason why this is important, Robert, is because more and more of these incentives are coming out for battery manufacturing, and we need to be able to get this domestic supply and this kind of chain supply going in our country. So I think this is a really good move by Michigan. And obviously that's where the big auto companies are. So there's it's a good reason why that's happening. But I think that this is really opportunity for other states and other areas to get involved with the with this battery chain supply. And you're going to start seeing everyone kind of like the old traditional vehicles where we're going to have all these different supply chain folks that are going to be involved. And then that's going to create a bunch of different jobs. So it's happening. It's going quick. And I'm really excited for this transition to continue to happen.
First, the Lions are winning all these games, and now Michigan's going to end up with their economy turned around. That sounds awesome.
Yes, absolutely. And then I'll also be at the Pechanga Department of Energy Indian conference out in California speaking, and I'll be talking about electric vehicles to all the tribes out there.
Right on.
End of February, Robert.
Well, I'll have to try and make it out there too. Hey, thank you so much. We're still here. We are the seventh generation.
And free Leonard Peltier now.